Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's installment of Align's Daily Dose of Advice, our way of bringing you valuable insights and thought leadership from business experts from around the world on various topics that will hopefully help you and your business. My name is Eugene Turk. I'm the Vice President of Business Development at Align. You can always learn more about Align at aligntoday.com. And my guest today is Andy Buyting. Andy published his first business book in 2007 and started publishing his first magazines in 2009. Since then, he has leveraged his integrated approach to print, digital, and interactive marketing strategies to establish himself as a thought leader in content marketing and brand positioning. He's delivered countless keynote presentations as a speaker and workshops to entrepreneurs, business leaders, and marketers all over North America. He wrote a second book entitled How to Win Clients and Influence People, which is an international bestseller on Amazon. And he is also a TEDx speaker. Andy, it's a pleasure to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Eugene.
Andy, obviously, it is a very different business world today than it was 8 to 10 weeks ago. And we are just starting to see communities and businesses reopen, many in some limited capacities, but reopening nonetheless. So I was wondering if we could discuss some of the challenges and the opportunities out there for companies right now.
Mhm.
One of the first considerations that any business must handle as they move towards reopening is obviously the safety of their own people and that of their customers and clients. I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on best practices that business owners should be doing right now to protect the health and safety of those that they come into contact in their workplace as well as in the marketplace outside themselves.
Sure. It's a good question. These are crazy times, and Eugene, as you know, I'm also a scaling up business coach, and working with different clients. You know, we're actually uh, this subject is front and center right now, and essentially the best piece of advice that I have is, it's like productivity when it comes to your employees. One of the big things that I firmly believe is, if you want the best out of them productivity wise, give them the best tools. So, you want them to be efficient at their job, get them a fast computer, get them the best webcams, get them the right technology to be able to do their job the best that they can. Don't be the roadblock that's preventing them but from being productive. So when it comes to safety, I would say follow the same basic rule, and that is, you need to know your local, state, or your regional laws when it comes to keeping your employees safe. But don't be afraid to invest in the hygiene products, the cleansers, the disinfectants. Invest in your people. Allow them to feel safe. If that means, I have a client that has hoteling kind of these offices with lots of people in them. Invest in those dividers. If that's what it takes, those plexiglass dividers
Mhm.
between workstations, whatever it takes to make your people feel safe and to feel cared for, do it. It's a small price to pay for their productivity, for their peace of mind. But no, make sure, because I'm not an expert in the state laws and so on, make sure you're familiar with what your state requires, and invest in that. Work with your people, because the last thing you want is your workforce to not be as productive because people are scared for their health. I mean, that's just, I was listening to actually a radio on the radio this morning, that a business not being able to open. I'm in a part of the world they're starting to reopen right now, but businesses not being able to reopen because the staff don't feel safe.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking, it costs a few $100s extra. Get them the plexiglass, get them to whatever they need for them to feel safe, because there's nothing worse than going into work feeling like you're, taking your life in your own hands.
Right.
So invest in your people, whatever they need to feel safe.
Obviously, like I said, it's a very different business world, and obviously, I know that business owners should be thinking differently
Mhm.
about their business models or maybe their product and service offerings. What suggestions do you have for business owners to sort of help them think differently as we move into these phased reopenings of the economy?
So I'll give you two things to think about. One, one of the biggest discussions I've been having with scaling up clients over the past 4 weeks is, or 8 weeks now, um, is this concept of return on luck. Now, Jim
Mm,
Collins in his 2011 book, Great by Choice, he has a chapter about this return on luck, and he said companies that have consistent return on luck are those who periodically take themselves out of their business, think strategically. Vern Harnish talks about there's difference between strategic planning and strategic thinking, and you need to do strategic thinking first, and then you could start with your execution planning. And yeah, Jim Collins talks about companies that have consistent return on luck have it regardless if it's good or bad luck, which I find really interesting. And in
mhm.
his studies, it was almost even. It was almost 50-50. The companies that had consistent return on luck had return on good luck as well as return on bad luck. And I challenge all of my clients and people that I talk to right now, what is your return on this? Most likely it's bad luck for your business. So think strategically. Think of where I'm a I'm a hockey fan. So as Wayne Gretzky said, don't go where the puck is, go where the puck's going. So
Right.
where is the puck going? Where, what are the changes that are going to stick in your industry, in your marketplace, in your business, in your employees, and your customers? What are those changes, and how can you pivot and strategically place your company to be in the forefront of those changes? So that's that's a really big thing, and you need to think strategically to do that. And then you just need to start marching towards it. You need to take action. After you do the strategic thinking, do the execution planning. A great tool, by the way, is one of the scaling up tools, and it's the sweat analysis. Looking at inherent strengths, weaknesses, but also trends. And I guarantee you, if you get your best people in your organization together, book an afternoon. Like, don't rush this conversation. Book at least 2 hours, if not 3 hours or more, and talk about trends. What is this causing? The changes that it's causing in your industry and in your business, and how can you position yourself a little bit differently to be in the forefront of these changes?
So, kind of building upon that point, I guess identifying those trends is sort of the way to identify the potential opportunities. But I guess the next step is,
Exactly.
what should business owners be doing to really take advantage of those potential new opportunities that they may identify as a result of that exercise?
Sure. And I'll even give you an example. So once you identify an opportunity, do that MVP, the minimal viable product, the offering, and just try it. You read about this concept in many different business resources and books. You try it with a low cost as an out of pocket cost, but also time invested. But try different things and see what sticks. And as an example, in our business that I'm a partner in, Tula Media, we were looking at this, and we had this conversation really early on. Everything started closing down one week. We had a strategic discussion afternoon booked the next week with my partners and all of our staff, and we all get together and we talked about this exact thing. What's going to be our return on this bad luck? And what we found was that, people are not able to get out to trade shows, get out
Hmm.
to conferences. These were being canceled, like mass cancellations right out to the end of the year. So we thought, well, what are we good at? Well, we're good at creating content, and we know our way around Google and keyword optimization. We know that like the back of our hand. We've been doing it for years. So you know what? Let's leverage that even a step further, and let's go out to a few of our clients and say, listen, if we take that keyword strategy that we've developed for you to create content, what if right now you take some of your trade show or conference budget and put it into pay-per-click advertising? What would you be interested in that? All of a sudden, like wildfire across the board, everybody's saying, yeah, I need that. I need that. And we signed on, we moved a lot of clients onto that platform, leveraging what we were doing already, but a slightly different product. And we started advertising it as well, and you doing our own PPC and content around this. And Eugene, I got to tell you, the first week when everything went on lockdown, we lost a number of clients because people
Hmm.
panicked and just canceled. We got termination notices. That happens to all of us. But I'll tell you, in the last 4 weeks, we have never had stronger sales. We have never had a stronger 4 weeks worth of sales in our business than we have in the last 4 weeks. And it's on this new program that we've been rolling out. So test it. As soon as you see pull, double down. And we're doubling down and we're going at it hard.
So let me follow up on that. When you do test it, sort of what are the suggestions that you have for sort of getting ahead of the competition in that opportunity? There's another scaling up coach, Andy Clayton, who talks about it being a land grab, that there are
Yeah.
these opportunities out here that you see, you sort of have to identify where is the land that you can go get. And so
Yeah.
what are the suggestions that you have for being sort of ahead of your competitors in being able to take advantage of those opportunities and get to that land first?
So as far as identifying them, uh, the easiest way to do it, and it's such a simple tool that it'll be a no-brainer once you think about once it's spelled out. But the best thing to do is you have existing clients or existing customers, go to them. Block off some time, a couple of hours in the morning, couple of hours in the afternoon, do this for 2 or 3 days and call your customers
Hmm.
and say, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? That's what we did with the pay per click. We went to some of our customers and said, listen, these are crazy times. I know, we got to pivot on some of your content, obviously. And we were very proactive. We offered up services to help them out through this process, like a lot of companies did. I think our team did an amazing job going out to the customer base to be their support, uh, you know, help them through this crisis. But I got on the phone and I called up probably about a dozen clients and I said, listen, we're thinking of doing this. And we had two or three different things we were thinking of. And this was the one that they said, oh yeah, I'd do that. Like,
Hmm.
if you could do that, I'll sign on like right now. Can you get started this afternoon? And as soon as I think 11 of the 12 said, yeah, we'd be all over that pay per click, initiative that you're discussing, we knew we had something. And then we just started talking about it in our networks. All of a sudden, we're signing on new clients, net new clients, and it's just gone crazy. And what's beautiful about it now that we're 4 weeks into it, the first guys are seeing some significant results. So we're really excited about that.
Fantastic. Congratulations. That's great
Thanks.
news. Andy, the question that I ask everyone when they come on the Daily Dose of Advice, what is the number one piece of advice that you are giving your coaching clients right now?
Number one piece of advice is I think everyone now has gone past the survival mode, with hoarding cash or figuring out what they're going to do as it relates to surviving through this crisis. They're kind of looking at the opportunities is don't stop reevaluating what you're doing,
Hmm.
because even my clients that, let's say, 4 weeks ago, I was having these strategic discussions around what's going to be our return on luck. We're now having those discussions again, saying, okay, how has it changed? Because 4 weeks ago, we only knew that the world was coming to an end and everybody was on lockdown.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like for a little while.
4 weeks
And we
ago, it
made
seems like a
plans.
lifetime. Yeah.
It does. And things are changing so much. Find out, because you're learning every day as well. So find out how things have changed, because maybe your strategic idea and your strategy that you came up with is a good one, but it might need to be tweaked right now. So every 2 to 4 weeks max, schedule that half day or the 2 hour session with your team and just say, okay, are we on the right track? What's been the feedback? How do we need to change it? Because now, some parts of North America are going back to work. Other parts, they're now, canceling even further out. So have those discussions and have them regularly, because if you don't pull your head up, the analogy I always use is, your if your strategy is to sail from New York City to London, England, you know, every once in a while, you've got to raise your head above the bow, see how the winds have shifted, see how the water's shifted, and reset everything. And if it's more important than ever to do that regularly. Don't think you had your strategy session at the beginning of April, you're good, because you're not. Things have changed, things continue to change and evolve. Make sure you're having those strategic discussions regularly.
Yeah, the business winds are shifting constantly and probably more so today than they have in any other period. So, what may
Yeah.
have worked last week may no longer be working this week, and it's great advice.
And the other thing too, Eugene, is that, maybe there's not huge changes, because there was a huge amount of change at the beginning when everything went on lockdown. We're not seeing that drastic of changes. However, what we are seeing is the fallout of everything. We're now seeing some of the businesses that are going to make it, some of them that are not.
Right.
You may now know some of your client segments that are really going to struggle and may not be there in business. And 4 months ago, where a month ago you could not have predicted that. We're seeing sporting events, schools, all these question marks around. I think people are coming to grips that, trade shows and conferences may not even start up till well into 2021. I even heard, I forget what it was now. On the news the other day, they were talking about canceling events right through to the end of 2021. So they're now already talking about canceling certain things that we took for granted for 18 months out. And this is going to be a long-term recovery process. This is not going away. We're not going to be back to normal in the fall.
Right.
It's just not.
Andy, we kind of ended on a downer, but I do want to I do want to thank you for your wisdom and insights. Hopefully, it doesn't take that long to come back, but I think in a realistic world, I think it is going to be a long disruption for many businesses. So you have to stay focused, you have to stay steady, and hopefully we can all ride this out and be better for it when this is all over with. For those of you that would like to learn more about Andy, you can go to tulipmediagroup.com, or you can go to Andy Buyting, that's BUYTING.com. Be sure to also check out Andy on LinkedIn, where he has been posting some really great daily video content. I appreciate that, Andy. Again, for those of you that would like to learn more about Align, you can always go to aligntoday.com, and we hope that you will join us on our next daily dose of advice. Till then, thank you so much, and we hope that you make it a great day. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks, Eugene.